and welcome back to FTC Features. My name is Louisa and I'm your host for this podcast, and our co-host today is Bhanaviya. Our topic up for discussion is the Muslim community in North Texas FTC. Our guests today are Dr. Ebeida, Sarah, and Faraz from the Marvels, and additionally we have the PDP of North Texas here with us, Mr. Cherryholmes. Would everyone like to introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Cherryholmes. I am the Program Delivery Partner for North Texas.
My name is Mohammed Ebeida. I'm a research scientist at India National Labs, and I'm the founder of the Marvels program within the Muslim community.
Hello. Oh, you can go ahead.
Hi, I'm Sarah Sheikha, and I'm a team captain for the Marvels of Epic.
I'm Faraz Rahman, and I'm a team captain at the Marvels of Mass.
Shall we start off today with why Dr. Ebeida left New Mexico and started the Marvels?
Well, my employer, Sandia National Lab, is shifting toward a hybrid working mode where they allow more people to work from home. So I was among the first wave of virtual workers in this new trend, and I had the luxury to pick a city of my choice, any place in the U.S. to go to. And I picked Dallas because it has a vibrant Muslim community. The number of services and the number of activities that they are holding here is enormous. And I thought that it will be a good environment for my family, and it will allow the program, the robotics, especially the robotics program that I started to grow and prosper.
And why don't we hear a little bit about? Oh yeah, sorry, go on.
You can go.
Okay, so why don't we hear a little bit about the team's perspective? How do you guys feel about your program and its introduction?
Sure.
Let me start by talking about the program a little bit, so I give a proper background, and then I will leave it to the team captain to reflect on their experience. Does that sound good?
Sound great.
Okay, awesome. So about 8 years ago, everybody in the research community was aware that AI is taking over, and that things are shifting toward automation on that level. And one thing that popped up right away, that we really need to change the way that our education system works. So I started to think about how can we do that? And I was connected with the Muslim community at that time in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I started small programs to teach kids very young age, at age of 6, 7, how to program using block programming and things like that. And actually, the response was very interesting. These kids at a very young age started to program their own games, and actually we started to make exhibits for the community to show the kids, and nobody believed that actually the kids program this kind of games. And that encouraged us, and we started thinking about taking it to the next level. So we started actually teaching the kids how to build robots out of Legos. And then we formed teams that participated in the first Lego League and competition. And in 2016, we actually had 2 teams that made it all the way from the qualifiers in New Mexico to winning awards at international competitions sponsored by NASA. And the team appeared on multiple newspapers there, and they got wide recognition by a lot of politicians. And that encouraged us even to expand the program even more. And we started to stepping into the FTC team. And that's in 2018, we started to form the Marvels. We participated in Arizona, New Mexico, and Colorado regionals. And in a matter of couple of years, 3 years, we won like 25 awards in these competitions. And our final achievement last year was winning the regionals of New Mexico, actually. So the next step for this program was that last June, I moved officially to Dallas, and I started spreading the program among different Islamic communities here. Two Islamic centers adopted the program and actually supported it very widely. So we have the East Plano Islamic Center, or EPIC, as we call it, and we have the Muslim American Society, or MAS. So we started here with two teams, the Marvels of Epic and the Marvels of Mass. And then one thing led to another. Right now we are spreading even to more chapters, and the Muslim community, I would say, is receiving the accomplishment that the team has achieved in this short period very nicely. So with that long introduction, I'll leave it to the team captains to reflect on their experience.
Yeah, that sounds pretty exciting, but let's hear from the team captain's perspective for both Epic and Moss. So what do you guys have to say about how your teams and your program started?
Hi. So I'll be honest, before the program started, my dad showed me the entry flyer for what the program was, and I wasn't that interested because I hadn't done anything like this before. And honestly, the flyer can't explain the entire magnitude of this program. And so my dad, he brought me to the introduction, and when I listened to Dr. Ebeida's presentation, my view completely changed. I immediately became very interested, and it felt I really wanted to be a part of the team. And so then I put my all in the interview, and I got into the team. So, and from the beginning, I feel like I have not been disappointed. I love how this program works. I love what I'm doing in it, and I really enjoy everything about it. I love talking with the other kids, working with them, and just coming together to build this robot and to build this community within my Islamic Center.
All right, let's continue with the interaction. All right, so if I understand correctly, the Marvels have two team programs, right? Epic and Moss. Yeah?
Yeah, at this point, we have two chapters. We are expecting others to join very soon. Actually, some of them, the Marvels of Irving, they already registered the teams last week.
So how did the program expand from one chapter to two chapters?
So one key aspect in our program is that kids teach each other. So we have few mentors in our program, and we have done extensive training for these kids in the preseason. But since they started, since the season started, they have been very active within the Muslim community to go and make outreach events and hold workshops where they make a showcase for what they learned, and they start to teach other kids in these communities what they have learned. And it's very powerful that, like we can. The way that kids receive information really differs when they receive it from an adult or they receive it from one of the same age. So if they hear an adult talking about robotics, talking about programming, they say, oh yeah, you know all this stuff because you are a big guy. When I'm your age, I'll learn about this stuff. But when they see a kid their age, representing or presenting a robot that they build and 3D modeling and talking about graphics and animation and marketing, actually that inspired a lot of kids to start say, hey, why not me? If kids my age can do this, I can do it too. And this actually pushed many communities to start wondering about how to join the program. And right now we are, as I mentioned, there are two big communities that are joining the Marvels very soon. Already ISI already, or the Islamic School of Irving already joined and will become one of the Marvels. Valley Ranch Islamic Center is joining soon as well. And we are very happy with the progress that we made so far. And we are looking even to spread the word among others.
What made you want to get into robotics? Like, what was your inspiration for starting the Marvels?
Well, okay. By training, I have a PhD in aeronautical engineering, and as a mechanical engineer, I was close to robotics throughout my life. One day when I was always thinking about teaching just programming to my kids, and I was waiting for them to reach the appropriate age. I used to teach programming in college, and it was tough, even for college student, because in the old way, you have to write script, and if you do any mistake, in writing the script, that's where you spend most of the time trying to fix the code. So it wasn't really a fun process, and I wouldn't imagine that kids before age of 14 or 15 start even think about learning programming. And then one day, my daughter was coming back from school and very excited. And she said, "Yeah, Daddy, I want to show you what I learned at school today." And then she's introduced me actually to block programming, where they don't have to write script at all. And to me, that was transformational, because if you can teach kids the logic through things that they can quickly grasp, similar to what they are doing on video games, clicking on this button, dragging this box, then that's transformational. And at that point, I thought that, I have to put this into action. And that's when we started doing this programming activities within the Islamic community. And the kids are taking everything you throw to them, and they want more. So now after they learned how to do games, they want to do robotics, and after they do robotics for FLL, they want to do FTC. So actually, they have been driving the development of this program, and we are just trying to catch up with their energy and their greed for knowledge.
Sounds fantastic. So what's your main goal of connecting robotics and STEM specifically with the Islamic community?
Well, right now, our vision, or we see robotics as a way that can bridge the gap between different communities. So whether different ethnicities or different groups within the Muslim communities, for example, our teams are usually maps the texture of the community that we serve. So the Islamic community within any Islamic center is quite diverse here in the US. So you will find people of Indian origin, from Pakistan, from all Arab countries, from Europe. So our teams usually map that texture. And we figured out that actually when you deploy diversity into the team spirit, they can achieve much more stuff, and the community started to see that. So our robotics team actually one of the unifying elements of the community now. So we at this point we are taking this to the next step. So we said that, okay, if people within the community figure out, look at these kids and say, if these kids who are coming from different backgrounds can work together and can produce all this great stuff, then we can do the same thing. We are taking this concept to our broader community now in the US. So by taking these teams and competing in competitions, in first competition, we are engaging the Muslim community with the non-Muslim community outside. And maybe we'll talk about that later, but one step along this direction is actually doing the opposite as well. Like when we organized the first robotics league for FTC in North Texas that was hosted by Muslim community, I would say a paradigm shift happened here, because for many of the teams that competed in our Islamic centers, it was the first time for them to enter an Islamic center. And I think that was a unique experience that bring people together, that make us feel that we are part of one human family. And I think nowadays, with all this political tension that's going left and right, we need more activities like this.
Mr. Faraz, would you like to share why you joined the Marvels?
Yeah, sure. So originally I saw it as a robotics program that was nearby and I could do. And I mean, that is what it is. But there is also like a further meaning behind it, as Dr. Bida was saying earlier. It's not just a robotics program. And even if we don't do well as robotics, which I mean, we hope to do, of course, and we are doing our best to do that. But one of the other like bigger things that we have to do, or one of our bigger goals, is to, you know, inspire other people and bring awareness to other people about STEM related things in general, not just robotics specifically.
So what are some accomplishments that you guys are really proud of as a team?
Well, so far our team is in our first season's year, but you know, even despite not having any awards, like not academically, but as a team, we haven't had any robotics awards. We've spread our like influence pretty far. We have a few teams opening up nearby in Irving. We also have maybe 2 or 3 others that might be opening up at some Islamic schools.
So I would add to that despite they just started their first participation in the EP League 2 weeks ago, they have accomplished a lot over the past 3 months. Like in terms of inspiring the entire Muslim community of Dallas about learning robotics inside the Islamic centers, I think they did an amazing job there. And the way that they did it is that they have like a showcase every week in the Islamic center. So people, while they are coming to pray, they pass by our session and they figure out, what these kids are doing, and then they step inside and then they start interact with the students. And then you see their eye opens. You learned all this in 3 months. A kid of your age can talk about programming and 3D modeling the way that you talk. And then because of that, now everybody wants to be part of the program. So thanks to Allah, we in the past few period, we not only got support from the 2 Islamic centers, we have a coalition of Islamic centers now that are willing to invest heavily in STEM-related activities within the Muslim community of Dallas. And it's not just the Islamic centers. Like when we start to do marketing and get sponsors for the team to cover some of the costs that we have here, it is, to my surprise, the overwhelming response that we got from different companies and different businesses that we reach out to. So in a very short period, the Marvels of Math, I think, collected about $40,000 in sponsorship. So that speaks volume for what these kids have accomplished, because all of that is because of their work.
That's great. Since we haven't touched on this topic yet, what made you start the EP League?
Okay, do you want? Lon has been silent for quite a while. You wanna talk about that, Lon?
Yeah. So I guess I'll ask you, Muhammad. What made you even send me an email in the first place?
So, yeah, okay. So it was like things were happening for us very quickly here in the program in Dallas. But we reach out to a point where we say, okay, within the Muslim community, I think we kind of send the message and they receive it very well. Now it's time to integrate the Muslim community into the first family in North Texas and vice versa. So, as you know, when I gave you a call, all what I have in mind is maybe 1 event or 2 events one in each Islamic center, so that we can have, like this integration, bringing people together, promoting diversity and all the great values of FIRST. But then the way that you receive this, and actually the excitement and your offer to, I'll let you speak about that.
So you sent me an email and said, it was actually a really short one, like, hi, I'm Dr. Ebeida. I'm the captain of the Marvels. I have 2 venues that I would like to offer up as, a place to do a competition. And then I started looking up who you were, and I started seeing that you were inspiring the Muslim community to join STEM and join robotics. So I think you and I set up a meeting within 1 day after you sent me an email. With if there's anyone listening to this podcast, just know that me and Mohammed, we work fast together. And
it has been a pleasure.
Yeah, so I think the moment we had our first Zoom meeting, I feel like you and I really established a rapport with each other within like 5 minutes.
I can't agree more. Yes.
And the reason why is because before I became PDP in 2020, I was not actually going to be living in Dallas anymore. I had made plans to move to New York City. And in New York City, I was going to start teaching robotics at a Jewish school. And I had a vision for the same thing what Mohammed is doing, but for Jewish people. And in New York City, it's a little bit easier to do that since competitions are on Sundays in New York, not on Saturdays when the Jewish people have their Sabbath. So I had a similar vision to Mohammed, just on a different religion. And when I told Mohammed that backstory, he said, well, yeah, that's the idea with what I'm doing, just with Muslims. And so he sent me all of these videos of, the leadership of the mosque going through the meetings and interviewing the kids. And after I saw that this has just been 2 or 3 months and the amount of progress they have as a team, I said that this needs to be highlighted in some way. So of course, as I started my job as the program delivery partner, and the reason I didn't move to New York in the end was because of COVID-19. Moving to New York would have been the worst decision of my life, especially the pandemic starting in America from that point, from that very place. And so I just decided to stay in Dallas, and the opportunity of becoming the program delivery partner came to me. And so, and I started late. So I was desperately looking for venues to start qualifiers because I only started my job officially in September. And so when he said he had 2 venues, I was like, okay, I can work with that. And I just couldn't imagine, doing a competition at a mosque. But then I said to myself, well, wait a second. 2 years ago, we had a competition in a church. So why not in a mosque? And so Mohammed was, as he said, he was thinking about doing one event, right? And I think I had the nerve to say, how about you do 4 events? So that's when I explained to Mohammed that there's this league model. And Mohammed had never heard of leagues before. He's used to qualifiers in New Mexico. So I said, you have 2 venues. Each venue will do 2 events. And we have this really, there's a lot of people on Discord and our Google group who were begging for the league model in our region. And I had already decided that we weren't going to do leagues because it was too late. And then when I told Mohammed that his venues could do 4 events, Mohammed, tell him what you did next.
So at that point, I was a little bit overwhelmed, 4 events, can we do that? But I wouldn't miss an opportunity like that. So I asked for some time to go to the leadership of both Islamic centers to get their permission and get them on board with this plan. And by some time, I mean like a day or 2. And I think over the weekend, we finalized everything. Like everybody was excited. Everybody was on board. Everybody wanted to see this happening. And then I went back by, I think, Sunday or something to Lon and say, okay, we can organize a league. What shall we do?
Right. And then the next day, we discussed every single date that would be at each venue. And it was done. You could say the EP League was born in 5 days. Yep. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then our meeting on Monday. And then after that was all the other work we had to do in getting it ready.
That's very impressive. Sorry, continue if you were getting.
No, go ahead. But that was like the best decision I ever made in my life. Like everybody are really thankful for First and for their quick decision on including the Muslim in their family and for giving us an opportunity like this. Like we are really happy that we made such a decision.
That's wonderful to hear. I actually wanted to ask more about your involvement with the EP League program. So what do you guys think were the biggest challenges of implementing it, and how were you able to overcome it?
Lon, do you want to take cut at this?
Well, the first challenge was, okay, let's be honest. We are in Dallas, Texas, which is not just the Bible Belt, but it's the buckle of the Bible Belt. And, the other challenge was it's 20 years since September 11th, and there has been a lot of anti-Muslim rhetoric. And, I don't buy these things because, I lived in Israel for 10 years. And I've had Arab teachers, I've had Muslim teachers, Muslim friends. I studied Arabic as well as Hebrew. And, I've studied, the Islamic faith a little bit. And I know that what the media portrays or what people have are preconceived notions are completely unfounded, that the Islamic community is very hospitable. They have a high level of what we call Abrahamic hospitality, very kind people. And I think that it's because of my experience that made me open to it more. And if someone else would have been program delivery partner of North Texas, this probably would not have even existed. And so I think maybe you could say that God or, Allah works in mysterious ways here. But in any case, that challenge of those preconceived notions made me worry that after doing all of this work of getting all 4 events set up, that no one would sign up for it because they would be afraid to walk into a building that had a dome on it. So that was the first concern that I had. And I had a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C of what we would do if it didn't work out. And so the second thing a challenge was, I didn't want to do anything that would offend the Islamic faith. And so I had multiple meetings with Mohammed and their board of directors, asking them, what would be appropriate or not appropriate in their venue if we decided to continue forward with the EP League. And so after some pretty, actually not even intense conversations, they were like so friendly and so comforting. And we came up with some guidelines of how we would, advertise for the events and what the ground rules would be for the event. Mohammed, what were your challenges?
So you captured it very properly. My worst fear was after doing all this effort and we have no people signing up, no team want to join because of perceptions or things like that. So that's you were on target there, and that fear turned out to be not existing at all. Like the response that we got from the teams in New Mexico, in North Texas, was actually overwhelming. So that was very good. The other thing, also along the same line, bringing people of different backgrounds and different constraints is not an easy job. And as the human race move forward, we have to make a choice of two. The easy thing is each one of us surround himself by people that looks like him, right? And consider anyone that doesn't look like the same or that doesn't share the same views an enemy or an alien or someone coming from space. Unfortunately, that leads to division and actually sometimes to wars. And we have been going through this period in America for quite some time now. In order to break this cycle and to bring people together, we have to start or to be willing to go through difficult discussions. But at the end of the day, after we go through this difficult discussion and try to bring our perspective together, the experience is enriched for everyone that's part of this. So I was very happy, very, very happy that Lon was open to go that route, because I knew that it won't be an easy route. But he was very excited, very encouraging that we move forward. And I think the result was quite significant as well. Like the response that we got from the teams that attended the event, it's amazing to see that. You know what? One team tell you that I was concerned to come and compete in the Islamic Center. But now, after I attended the event, I feel kind of silly. You guys are like us. They are very generous. You are very hospitable. And we actually enjoyed our time. All right. My response is that if that's what we have achieved by this event, that would be enough of an achievement.
Yeah, I had some volunteers tell me as well that before the event, they used to think that Muslims were evil, Muslims were bad, and then they show up and they get all of this friendly smiles and happiness, and they see all this technology and free food. I guess that really solves all the problems, is the free food. I will have to say that Epic and Moss, the host of the events, paid for every single person in the venue to get a free meal. I think that's very generous for an event host to do. And they said that, after just one day interaction, it just completely changed their paradigm of who they thought Muslims were. And another thing that it changes the perception is a lot of people see science and religion as polar opposites. But in the Islamic community, this is not true at all. In fact, not very many people know that there was a scientific, philosophical, mathematical revolution called the Golden Age of Islam, where things such as algebra, which is an Arabic word, by the way, algebra was invented, advances in astronomy, advances in geometry. And all of this was not seen as something separate from the Islamic religion. It was actually a part of it. And there was a flourishing of STEM before it was even called STEM in the Islamic age, when Europe was in the deepest darkness. And so if it weren't for the revolutions of the Islamic community, we wouldn't have algebra. And if we did not have algebra, we could not have calculus. And if we don't have calculus, we wouldn't have rocket science. And if we don't have rocket science, we couldn't make it to the moon. And that's a big chain of events that all started with this community. And when I saw that this was inspiring that new renaissance, a new golden age of Islam, how could I say no? And how could I not support it? And I know that the captains of the team also have perspectives on this. What was it like from your perspective, seeing the community embrace you as hosts?
I'm no expert on demographics, let alone the comparison of demographics from one area to another. But from what I do know, Plano especially is really diverse. And even the school that I go to, Plano East Senior High School, our principal even boasts about it. He says, "Oh my God, we have such a diverse student body." I never imagined that I'd see. He was talking about how there was this group of friends that went to Plano East a few years ago, and he was really especially proud and happy that all of them were friends, because one of them was Hispanic, one of them was Muslim, and then there was a white girl who also happened to be she was very Christian, and she was very religious, and there was also another Black lady. And he was really happy about that. And I don't know exactly about demographics. Like I said earlier, I don't know much about it other than that. But from what I know, I think that might have helped a little bit with the EP League coming together. And although we do have a diverse community and a diverse student body, there definitely is some people that still aren't well informed of what Islam really is, or even Muslims in general. So I really am happy to see that, there's more enlightenment happening about, what Islam really is and what Muslims are really like, because there really is a wrong connotation on so many levels.
And also, I was not expecting that we would start a league in the first place. I only thought that we'd be in the team for the competition, and that was it. But obviously, once it came apart, I was really supportive and excited for this. And when the first meet of the league happened, I felt at peace that so many people were coming of different races and diversity, and everyone was supportive of each other. No one was against each other. No one was tense. Everyone was just calm in this Muslim environment, and that really made me happy.
Just a quick comment on what Lon mentioned. It's not just algebra. the word algorithm, which is the foundation of every application coming from computer science. It's actually the name of a Muslim scholar, so Al-Khwarizmi. So
you mean
that's
algorithm? Like an algorithm? Yes.
Yeah, that's actually his name. So his name was Al-Khwarizmi, and he's invented this way of thinking or giving orders to a machine or something like that. And that's why we adopted the name algorithm for our codes. So it's a big deal in the Islamic religion to advance science, to learn what's going on around you, and to explore and to add to this to the scientific domain. Unfortunately, because of years of being under occupation, left and right in the Muslim community, many Muslims forgot about that. And hence, the whole Islamic civilization has been diminished to some extent. What we are doing here in this program is we are trying to remind the Muslim community of how they should act, how the best use that they can use their masajid. It's not just, it's for rituals and for teaching science and for doing good stuff for humanity in general. And I think people who reminds that, oh, this is what we used to do in the golden age of Islam. They are very happy about the opportunities that actually you might recover that again. And can you imagine how many billions of Muslims we have right now? Can you imagine their impact if we recover the role of Muslims in pushing the human civilization forward? I think that will be good for all of us.
Do you think the Golden Age was the center of the Marvels program and why you made the EP League?
We started the main reason that I started this program is that our Muslim kids had an issue with their identity. You know, like they come to the masjid, they act as, or to the Islamic center, and yes, they act as Muslims and they follow the rituals and stuff like that, which is great. But the minute that they leave the masjid, they lose that identity to some extent. Even some of them start to modify their names to avoid appearing as Muslims. I wanted to show them that they can be both at the same time. They can be Muslim, they can be Americans, and they can be proud of both identities. And that's why we are forming these Muslim teams to engage with others, show their accomplishment under the Islamic identity in a non-Islamic setup like the international competition of FIRST. And I think this is working big time. But one thing lead to another. Now, actually, we have a bigger goal by spreading to all these Islamic centers and exciting them about recovering the role of the Islamic center in science, in technology, with kids from a very young age. I think we started a movement, actually, and we are trying to catch up with it and to understand the responsibility that we have right now, and we are doing our best. And in this effort, we have hundreds of people that are joining now and that are exciting and that help pushing in so many directions. And we are just like, at this point, I'm compiling all the possibilities that we have, and I'm trying to prioritize what we can work on, and that's what we execute.
It sounds like a real renaissance of sorts. So let's hear from the team captains. What aspects of your program are you proudest of?
Sorry, do you want to start or should I go first?
If Ross
I can go. Yeah, I can go first. So I mean, one thing is, our long-term goal is, it's not something that we'll be able to accomplish within a year realistically. I mean, if it is possible, I'm 100% all for it. And if there's a way to do it, I'm all for it. But honestly, I think that it's going to be longer than a year to accomplish our goal. But I mean, as of now, currently, I think the thing that I am most proud of my team is that a lot of the people that have joined, although we've had a few high schoolers, like maybe half a dozen total between the two teams, half a dozen more or less. I think other than that, all of us are middle schoolers. And I think the thing that I'm most proud of is that all of us were able to learn a lot more than we had known before. And that's really going to make, that's a lot of progress towards our long-term goal as well. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of right now.
Yeah, so I'm obviously really proud of how far we've gone in the actual competition itself, like building the robot and making it be able to move. And also the fact that we can spread our message to many other communities. But like along with Faraz, I feel like the most thing that makes me the most proud is how much we've grown as individuals. Like the STEM knowledge that I personally had before was nothing. I knew nothing about any of this. And I feel like within the 4 months since we've started this program, I have learned so much, and that I can, like, our entire team has learned a lot and advanced a lot in this short amount of time. Like if a problem comes up now, we can immediately fix it. It's just muscle memory now, how we can fix these programs and problems, and how we can just like do better. And I feel like that's the thing that I'm most proud of with this team.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, with that being in mind, that's not the only thing that I could confidently say that I'm proud of our team proud of our team for doing. But I mean, I think right now that's probably the most thing. I mean, other than that, I'd say spreading the word and spreading STEM knowledge, and expanding robotics, and maybe even expanding our teams. We might have even more brother and sister teams in the future, and that's also something that I'm really proud of. But I mean, I'd have to say that the other one trumps the other as of now.
And Dr. Beta, what's your long-term vision for both your robotics program as well as all the activities you've hosted in the Islamic Center?
Well, I'm very ambitious. I want to change the world to a better place. And I'm not saying it as a cliche. I'm really working hard to achieve that goal. And I think if the human race would have any chance, it's through the next generation. And that's what I'm working very hard. So we need to connect this new generation together. We need to make them work together in joint program. We need to make them know how to compete with gracious professionalism together at a young age. So hopefully when they grow up, they avoid the kind of standard conflicts that generation of humans have been going through. And I really believe that this robotics program and similar ones pushes in that direction.
And I mean, to add to that point, I think honestly it is accomplishable within like the next decade or two, maybe even 3 at the most, because I mean, as it is, technology has progressed very rapidly along with like human population and a lot of things. But as of within like the past 100, 200 years, everything within humans' lives have just exploded. Technology, population, healthcare, all sorts of things. And I mean, honestly, with the internet being, somewhat of a recent invention, and that also facilitates the spread of knowledge much more easier. Honestly, I think it is accomplishable within like my foreseeable future.
And what about the EP League? Mr. Cherryholmes, Dr. Beta, what are y'all's long-term plans for that?
Well, I believe it will be a fixture in North Texas for a couple of years, if not more. And the goal, in my eyes, is also to bring peace to the world. And the values of FIRST are very obvious. One of the 6 core values is inclusion. So on the one hand, we are including this minority in America, but not minority in the world, into our North Texas community. And also, there is a lot of push to make diversity, which, as Dr. Ebeida said earlier, is actually the key to the majority of the success of most programs, is the diversity. So those 3 goals, peace, inclusion, and diversity, are what I believe my goals are for the EP League.
From my side, I hope there are short-term goals for the league and long terms. The short terms is that it was our first league and our first experience to organize some event like that in our masajid. So there are a lot that we learned, and there is a lot of improvement that we have to deploy also in the coming 3 meets. And we are starting by recruiting more volunteers, giving more training to achieve that goal. We really want everyone to feel, like competing as if they are competing in their home place, and that's my hope to achieve in the coming 3 meets. For future years, I hope that, or I'm working hard to get the other Islamic centers that are interested in joining the Marvels to be interested in organizing similar events. So it looks like leagues in general give better experience to FTC teams, and we need more volunteers and more institutes to come forward to organize these kind of events. I think the Islamic community in Dallas here is excited and is willing to put significant resources to help achieve that goal, so that we have multiple leagues next year coming out of the Islamic community.
Since our session is coming to a close, do our guests have any closing comments to wrap us up?
So from my side, I want to thank you guys. You have run this podcast in a very nice way, and we really appreciate the effort that you put into this.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was really wonderful to hear about both your robotics program as well as all of your contributions to both the FIRST community as well as growing the Islamic community with STEM, as well as learning how the EP League grew. We hope to have more guests on in the future, but thank you so much for today.
Thank you for inviting us.